What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Win podcast with your host, Aunt Ma.
Co-host Justin Vaseur.
And today is going to be pretty special. So on last week's episode, we spoke about all of your updates, your personal story. You got so much going on, buying a house, right?
Mm-hmm. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about your life.
That's what's going to be special today, man. Like, we're going to be talking about why I started YouTube, right? Why I went from YouTube to real estate, and now we're doing podcasts. Man, I've just done so much in my life. Every time I talk to people, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, damn, that's a good question, because I can count like 10 things that I do.
Yeah.
And so after I tell them, okay, right now, what do I do? I'm a YouTuber, right? I host 2 podcasts. I'm an investor for Junbi Matcha, investor for Hot Jong chili oil. I do real estate in California. I do real estate in Las Vegas, and so when people, when they hear all that, they're just like, wow, okay, so you're a serial entrepreneur. I'm like, that's the perfect word for it. It's serial,
That sounds scary.
A little bit. It is dangerous, right? I'm doing so many things, but it all really just started from one thing, which was YouTube. Yeah, YouTube was like what started my whole life.
When did you start that?
This was, oh man, I feel like.
And why?
The YouTube channel started maybe in like 2015 or 2016, maybe 2017, something like that. We've been doing it for like 7 years now. But the reason why we started is because, well, first, we're around with a bunch of friends who are always vlogging. We go on vacation with them and we're like, why are we the only ones without a camera? It's kind of weird. So it was the opposite. Like usually when people go on vacation, there's no cameras.
Yeah.
But with this group of friends, I was the only one without the camera. So I was like, okay, this is a little weird, right? And so also going on these vacations with them, I was like, man, this is the first time I'm going to Hawaii. This is the first time I'm going to Japan. I've never been to all these places. I never traveled. I'm like, this would be pretty cool memories. And so, I think when my wife and I actually started to start a family, that's when we started vlogging, like consistently and for reason.
So you started off as like a vlog channel, family vlog channel?
Yeah, and that wasn't really the idea. Like I had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew was that I wanted to capture my wife's pregnancy journey and then the family growing. And I didn't know if I was going to put it online or have people watch it and things like that, because at the time I didn't know how to edit. I didn't talk to editors or anything like that. It was just me doing home recording videos, just like a dad does back in like the 90s and the 80s. Yeah, exactly. So that was the whole start of it all. And I think the whole concept was really, I wanted to have footage that the generations under me, my kids, their kids, their kids could have something of me, my dad, and stuff like that. Because I've never met my grandpa on my dad's side. So I don't know what he looks like besides like one picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know who this guy is, nothing about him. So I wish I had that. And so the other thing was also, my dad is, he's old now, and he used to play a lot of basketball. And I was like, you know what? I should record me and my dad playing basketball, because one day my son can watch that and be like, oh, cool. Dad and grandpa used to play together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want those memories for people to watch in our family, and then imagine like my kid's kid watching that. He's like, wow, great grandpa used to ball up like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just like, that was the whole purpose behind it. It was kind of like the that Tupac mentality, where it's like, just keep putting out stuff before you die, so you have stuff for people to listen to. That's what it was. Like when I'm gone, I want people to know, how their dad or the grandpa was as a young kid. So that was the sole reason why we started YouTube. It was just that
cool.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then did it like Were you able to turn it into like a career kind of thing fairly quickly, or was it like it took
I think
years
uh
to?
I think within 6 months it became a career, and we weren't
Really?
expecting that.
Whoa, that's
So
fast.
yeah, it happened under unnormal circumstances. So, the first videos were um announcing that Christina was pregnant, right? We did like this whole like surprise to our friends and stuff. And so when we released that video, people were happy. They're like, "Oh wow, a new side of this group is now starting a family," and we started getting some subs and people interested in our life. And now they're watching the whole journey of Christina being pregnant. And then all of a sudden, the upload stopped. And the reason it stopped was because Christina had a miscarriage.
Mm.
So me and her were going through this whole behind the scenes stuff, going to the doctors. We record how it is to go to the doctors when you have a baby and stuff like that. What do you see through the cameras? Like, through like, when they put stuff on the belly and
Mm.
you see like, oh, there's the finger, there's the legs. So we're recording that whole experience for everybody to see. And then it was like the doctor says, oh, there's no heartbeat, you know? And so I was like, okay, well, let's just keep recording this and see what happens. And so as the weeks go by, and then we find out that she actually has a miscarriage, and then she goes to the emergency room and all this stuff. And after that whole ordeal is done, like that same day or the next day, I was like, what do you want to do right now? Like, do we record this or not? So we decided to keep recording, but we didn't upload anything because we didn't know if we wanted to put it up. We were
Yeah.
like, but we wanted to share uh, the actual moments of what we're going through. So when people see that and they're going through it, they know it's normal. And so, you know, we're crying in the video, we're sad. And I think like after recording that, we didn't put it up. It was like 3 months of us being depressed that we lost a kid.
Yeah.
And so for 3 months, we're just kind of like trying to get back on our feet. And after that, we're like, you know what? I think now we can put it up because we told the story through, I think, maybe Instagram or something. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, like my mom went through one, my sister went through one, my grandma. Everybody knew someone who went through a miscarriage, right? And so that's when we're like, oh, wow, how come no one talks about this?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we started uploading the things that we went through. And people saw it, and that's when it took off. And when we got a lot of subs that way, I mean, it was unintentional, right? It was just
Right.
kind of spreading awareness with miscarriages, and it so happened that people were just could relate to it, and that's what started the whole career, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so crazy, right?
yeah. That's super
Like
crazy.
it's when you don't expect it, and you're just doing things for yourself and your family, and then all of a sudden you're genuinely sharing stories and
I feel like
everything.
that's the way to go. Like
Yeah,
just be like. I feel like a lot of people right now are kind of just like what do you call it? Superficial or whatever, if that's the
yeah.
word. So like, starting your YouTube in that way, and genuine like, giving out information and your experience through that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty organic, you know. And I think that's what led to everything else that I'm doing now, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but it's definitely a hard journey doing YouTube. It's not the easiest thing in the world, you know. People are always like they think it's simple. Um, but what you don't know behind the scenes of doing YouTube is that when you guys watch a TV show or a movie, you see the pre-production, people meeting at tables about the movie and what they want to do. They write the script, and then now they got to hire the actors, and then they got to start making the props and stuff, the set design, all that, right? The wardrobes, and then now they got to film it. They got to get people coaching them while they're filming it. Then they got the editors and putting things together, right? They got and we even missed the whole production thing of people like setting up the sets, the lights, and all this stuff.
Right,
That's a
right.
lot of work, right?
Yeah.
Imagine doing that for YouTube with one person.
Yeah.
You're doing all that by yourself, and no one knows that. Like, we're setting everything up from beginning to end with one person. But like in Hollywood, you have thousands of people doing this as their jobs, and they're all professionals.
Yeah.
You know?
So what did that look like when it's a vlog channel? Like,
so, we have to figure out, like, what are we shooting today? What are we going to talk about? Like, you can't just pick up the camera and record. Like, you have to at least know what the whole topic is going to be about for people to follow and understand. There has to be a reason to the video. And I think the hardest part was actually post vlog, which is the editing part.
Yeah,
so
that's the part that...
Yeah, I never went to school for editing, let alone any kind of computer work at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I started trying to edit these videos on my own, I think people off the bat, they just try to find editors right away, and they're paying them like a few $100s per video, and their videos aren't making money. And then like, I'm like, damn, that's hard, dude. How are you doing this? Like,
yeah,
that's not how you really start a business, right? You got to grow from that. So when I first started editing videos, I edited the first 5 years by myself. And I learned how to edit by just doing the first one and the next one. I would say the first 2 years, the first year, each edit would take me 36 hours to edit.
Oh, yeah.
3 days.
Yep.
But this is off of like basic level, right? Just to get a 15-minute video out, it took me 36 hours, which is about 3 to 4 days worth of work for me. And then as I started getting better, I was like, cool, now I can edit faster. But actually, I wasn't editing faster. It was still 36 hours because now I'm putting more skill into it. I'm editing better. The quality is getting better. And so I think it was like the first 2 years, videos would take me about 3 days to do.
Yep.
Right. So now I can probably bang it out in like, if it's basic, 1 hour, but if it's good, maybe 3 hours, but it took me 5 years to get to that.
Yeah.
And so I remember people in the YouTube game, or people, it's weird. So people with a YouTube background are always fighting with people with an actual, I don't know what would you say, like a media background, where they went to college and graduated for
production or something.
Yeah, for editing or for being a director and stuff like that. And there's always this argument between the two, like, what do you know? You didn't go to school for that. And it's like, but I don't need to go to school for it. At the same time, I think I'm editing better than you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for sure, people who graduated these schools, they have way more skills.
Yeah.
But I feel like these kids who learn how to edit and stuff are like robots, because for some reason they don't teach the personal touch and the emotions and the feels. So every time I hire an editor, I'm like, damn, dude, like, this is great, but you just cut out like this experience that I wanted, or this part that was like touching,
Yeah.
And so that's why I edited my videos for the first 5 years, because I had my own feels and touch to the videos. Because if I'm watching it, I want to feel like a awe, or like, wow, this makes me happy, or this makes me sad. And so, especially if I'm going to have my kids watch it and my other family watch it, like, I want them to feel the whole experience.
Yeah.
So it's really hard doing YouTube on your own, man.
I bet.
Like, even right now when we're doing this podcast, we're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, the editing part is like one of the, I don't want to say worst, but if you're not into it, it just takes so long. Because it was the same thing for me where when I first started, it would take me like 3 days, 4 days to do one edit.
Yeah.
And first, again, it was the skill level. Then it became like the creative level where it's like you just want to pour everything into it.
Yeah.
And then now it's kind of like, all right, you figure out what you can like put in there, cut out, whatever.
Yeah.
Or how much creativeness you can add to it. But like, I'm kind of going through the same thing with my first vlog.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I'm excited for that, dude.
I'm excited for it too, but it's definitely not where I want it to be. Because like one of the things that I'm not good at is like figuring out what to vlog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just like, oh. Like I had when I went out. This is like my vacation vlog. When I went out there, I had like a shot list and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, but it's
Cool.
more so the talking when I'm like
Yeah.
looking at the camera and trying to explain things. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's all natural. It's just you speak what's on your mind and like how you relate to certain things in the area that you are, you
yeah.
know?
So I mean, YouTube is hard,
It
you
is.
know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys do it. That's crazy. I mean, obviously you guys been doing it for a long time, but yeah, even like every cut was like, okay, now we're doing this, and then
Yeah.
now we're doing this, and I'm like, dude, you sound stupid right now.
Yeah. I think it took me 4 years to get over that.
Oh, really?
So, when I'm uploading like 2 to 3 videos a week for 4 years straight, I thought I sounded stupid. I didn't like it. I didn't like hearing myself. I didn't like watching my own videos. But after 4 years, I was like, okay, now I get it. Now it feels more normal. But that's a long time. So people always ask me like, how did you get over that? Like, you're professional. Like, you sound great. I'm like, yeah, but I hated it for 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's not that I hated doing it. I love doing it. It's fun. I just hate watching myself on TV.
Oh,
Right?
I see.
I think everybody does. They hate their own voice, and stuff like that. But you just learn to get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is like some advice like for someone starting a YouTube channel?
I would say first off is record with passion, meaning that whatever you like, you do. Who cares about what anybody else says? Who cares if you think it's not going to get views? It's not about that. You'll make the best content with what you're passionate about. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is just pick one thing. For me, I do so many different things.
Pick one thing. What do you mean by that?
If you're going to dedicate your channel to, you're going to start off to do vlogging, then just do vlogs. Over time, things will change, but you have to just build up that audience and then start a whole new channel. I kind of started mixing stuff in, right? I started doing like food stuff and recipes, how to cook stuff. And then I started mixing in like now podcasts and things like that. And it's simpler to just have one channel, but I get how hard it is to start a second and a third. It's ridiculously hard. It's like starting from scratch on every channel. I think if you're someone who's like Mr. Beast and has like, I don't know how many subs he has, 20 mil subs or something or more. I don't know. But yeah, he can start another channel and before a video goes out, it's already at like 5 mil subs.
Yeah.
Those are the perfect example of people saying, oh, start a new channel. But when people, I get comments right now, people say, why don't you start a new channel? Well, probably because I'll get like 500 subs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I need to, this is my life, this is how I make money and stuff. And right now, YouTube money is not as great as it used to be. So I got to capitalize on the channel that I have now and just progress that way. Yeah. Junbi matcha serves high quality matcha straight from the farms in Japan. The matcha leaves are hand picked by farmers to create the purest form of matcha straight to your cup. They currently have 5 locations around the US, 2 of them being in the LA area, which is Roland Heights and Westwood, 1 in Princeton, New Jersey, 1 in Dallas, Texas, and their newest location on the Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, Hawaii. If you don't have a Junbi near you, you can always purchase their matcha tins or pre-made packs. The most popular are the blueberry matcha and the vanilla matcha. You can just mix it with water and you'll have the same great tasting Junbi teas at the comfort of your own home.
You have all these businesses, or you started all these businesses. Why'd you get into real estate?
Okay, so I have investments, right? Money's out there waiting for money to come back, right? On those investments. And so the biggest thing was that, being on YouTube, we get a lot of sponsorships, I'll put it out there for you guys. So a lot of times when we do these brand deals, we get, like $5,000, stuff like that. And so we have friends who are making big bucks off brand deals, right? 15 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand.
Really?
100 grand.
No way.
yeah, they'll sign contracts for that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I get to that level? But I don't have the following that they have, right? And so when I realized I'm not gonna get these $20,000 brand deals, I'm like, what else can I do that's gonna make a big check? And that's how I'm thinking about real estate. Real estate, you get your $15,000 checks, 20, 30, $50,000 checks. I was like, this is my way of getting these big brand deal checks. So that's kind of what sparked it for me first. So it was related to YouTube and just thinking about getting big checks. And then second, it was about the age group that I'm in. We're all starting families. Friends are just barely getting married.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? Everyone's kind of going to real adulthood where now sooner or later they're going to buy homes. So I'm in this age group where all of my friends and family that are my age, they're all going to buy a home. I'm like, why not be a realtor and I can help them?
Right.
But I can help my friends buy a home and all this stuff. No one knows realtors at this time. I don't even know one at the moment when I was thinking about it. So I was like, there's just so many opportunities, I was in my second home at that time, but everyone else I knew didn't really buy a home yet. Then also I've been in the industry since I was like 15 or even younger.
In the real estate or
in the housing market? Yeah. So I think at 15 and a half, when I could get a permit to work. Actually, was that under the table? It might have been under the table. But I was working for an escrow company. So from like 15 to 21, I did escrow. And that's all about housing, loans, refinances, stuff like that. And at the time, I really didn't understand any of that terminology because I'm so young.
Yeah.
But I'm in the world, and even before 15, my mom was like a vice president of an escrow company. So I spent a lot of days after school, my whole summers in the office because we didn't have a babysitter. So I would go around and talk to all the escrow officers, escrow assistants, give everyone their mail, their faxes at the time, just being like a 7-year-old boy running around the office. So I was really involved in that world. And so when I was thinking about what is the next thing I want to do to really make some good money, I was like, well, I'm pretty comfortable with anything that has to do with houses. But what do I want to do? Do I want to be a mortgage broker? Do I want to be an appraiser? I thought about that, being an appraiser, because with being an appraiser, it's really like almost doing things your own time.
Yeah.
Just go and value a home and that's it. Simple. But I think real estate was just like, damn, that's where the big money is. So being comfortable in the industry, knowing escrow, having friends that would buy a home, stuff like that. That's all of the reasons why I started real estate. Yeah.
And so when you started, was there any like you had to get your real estate license and everything? But like right after, how was that experience? Like, were you able to jump into it right away and get some deals, or like, did you sell any homes to friends, or like, what was?
So that's a good question.
Was it hard?
It is hard. Yes and no. So my goal was, my real estate license was more of, if I could get like a $20K check once a quarter,
yeah,
I'm good. So if you think about getting 4 checks in a year, I'm like, that's an extra salary. So it was more of a part-time gig that I wanted to do. So I was like, if I can just do 4 in the year and really still have YouTube as my number one, I'm good. Like, that's it. I don't need to really switch careers right now. So that was my mindset. Was the first year was to do it part-time. But what happened was I got my license, I think it was January or February 2020. And I was like, yes. And in December 2019, my son was born. So he was an infant. And we all know what happened March 2020. Pandemic.
Yep.
Right? So my first year of having my license, I actually didn't do any real estate because I was like, wow, there's a pandemic going on. My son's an infant. Everyone thinks the whole world is going to die right now. So I'm not going out meeting people and showing homes with an infant and trying to bring COVID home.
Right.
Because we all thought it was we're all going to die. So the first year, no real estate. So I lost my first year of doing anything. Mm-hmm. So think about when a basketball player is a rookie and in his first year he gets injured and he's done for the rest of the season. When he comes back in his second year, he's a rookie. Mm-hmm. So he missed out on his first rookie year. And that's kind of how my real estate journey was. I missed out on my rookie year. So in that second year, I was like, okay, now I can continue this part-time thing. And I didn't take it too seriously. I think I did maybe 2. I sold 2 homes my first year because I was like, this is just part-time. And also this was the tail end of 2020 maybe, or the beginning of 2021, where people were like, they're still not buying a home right now because they're still going through the pandemic. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's going on. No one wants to buy a home yet. And then all of a sudden, like in Q1 of 2021, rates dropped like crazy and everyone's starting to buy a home because everyone's now been home for a year during the pandemic and everyone's kind of like figuring out what is their reason to live. What is their dreams in life? And everyone's just like, I need to buy a home. I don't want to live in an apartment with 100 people. I need my own space in case so I don't get COVID. Yeah. So there's all these things where people are just like,
and the pandemic money.
Pandemic money. Yeah. Everyone got free money. And it's kind of like poof in their head where a light bulb clicks. Like, what am I going to do with my life? What's important to me now? Mm-hmm. And it was buying a house and starting their next chapter. So that's when I was like, okay, now let's really try for a year in this part-time thing. And I think that year I did maybe about 6 to 8 homes when it was just part-time.
Yeah.
And because as the months kept progressing in 2021, it started getting flooded and really competitive. Everyone wanted to buy a home. And I was like, damn, I don't even have time for this right now. I'm still doing YouTube full-time, And so selling, 6 to 8 homes in your first year is a lot.
Yeah.
So the average real estate agent sells 4 homes a year. A lot of people sell 0 in their first year and then they quit. Mm-hmm. I think it's like, I don't remember the number, but I think people are saying like 90% or 95% of agents in the first 3 years fail and they're not agents anymore.
Because it's all commission, right?
It's all commission. I talk to a lot of agents who are the first year and they're just like, how are you getting all these deals? How are you selling homes? I'm still at 0. I'm like, I don't know, man. You got to get out there and just talk to people and whatnot. Right. So after I saw that I was able to, sell 6 to 8 homes without really trying and doing this as a part-time job, I was like, oh shit, maybe I should take it more seriously. Mm-hmm. So in 2022 is when I decided to do full-time real estate. But what happened was I also decided to move
to Vegas.
And it was crazy because I'm like, shit, my clientele in LA, the business is picking up. Like I'm starting to get one client every month, which is a lot. One a month is a lot for a new person. And I was like, if I move to Vegas, I'm going to lose all of these clients, And so I was like, well, let's just build it up in Vegas. And so now I got a license in Vegas and I have my license in LA. And it's kind of weird. It's like I was full-time, but not, because now my time was split and now I'm trying to learn everything in Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's like the full-time was not full-time selling. Half the time was understanding the Vegas market and learning. And I was joining a real estate group and a team, trying to learn the systems and things like that. And I learned a lot. So I would say not until this year, 2023 is my very first real full-time year in real estate. and I'm actively doing both California and Nevada. And there are some months where I'll get 0, and then there are some months where I have 5 to 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that?
So in the last 11 weeks, I have been to LA 9 of those weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's how busy I've been. And I still got to go next week and the week after. So it's crazy.
But like, what made you switch to that full-time mentality, or like, what made you take it seriously?
One was the YouTube money wasn't doing as well anymore. So ever since COVID, so what you guys don't understand is, every time an ad comes on for a video, we get a little share of that, but it's pennies or fractions of pennies actually. And since COVID, the people these big box companies who usually pay for these commercials on YouTube are now not paying for it as much, or they're not spending as much money because they're either going bankrupt, they're scared of going bankrupt, or people aren't really buying stuff during the pandemic. So basically, companies are not paying for commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that happen to your money? You're not getting as much. So your rates were going down, 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 down. So it went down like, I don't know, drastically. And so that's what made me switch into full-time real estate.
It's just kind of like survival mode.
It was survival mode. Yeah. It was either that or start another business. And I was like, I'm kind of tired of starting businesses. You know, I don't want to do something where I'm there all day, every day, building that back up. Like, I'm tired. So I think real estate was the best option. But also what I didn't know at the time was it's also very time consuming.
Oh, I bet.
Because I spend almost every weekend in LA right now selling homes, and I'm here in Vegas.
You're probably like constant contact with people and all that stuff too, right?
So the other night I was in bed, it was midnight, and I was talking to a client because she's like, I want to buy a home and stuff. And so we're talking via DMs on Instagram, and then Christina looks over and she's like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? She's like, it's midnight, you know? There's this new client who wants a home. And she's like, I don't know any agent who talks to a client at midnight.
Oh.
You know? And I'm like,
she's like, he's got a side chick, huh?
No, she wasn't thinking that. Just kidding. She just knows that I don't stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I've learned to take every opportunity that comes to me. Like, it shows how much I care for the person and the business. You know what I mean? And, I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. So like with the deals that you've made over the past few years, were any of them like friends? Like, were you able to help your friends out in some ways, or because I know at the beginning you said, oh, like I could help my friends out, this and that. Like, did that ever?
That's one of the hardest things. I thought it would be easy for me to sell homes, especially during part-time, that I would help friends.
Yeah.
And so the other reason why I switched to full-time was because I learned that no friends are buying homes for me.
Yeah.
Probably because one, friends were not buying at the time. And then eventually there were some friends that bought homes and they didn't ask me. And I totally get it. You know, I'm new. But at the same time, like, I think anybody can help you sell a home if they just care for you, you know, like they'll get the job done. But right now, I've helped my parents sell one of the rentals. And I am helping one friend right now buy a home. My second friend deal is right now. I helped someone a month ago, and now I'm helping someone now. And those are my first 2 friends that I'm helping, and that's like 3 years in the game.
Yeah.
So it's hard to sell to friends. You would think your friends would be like, yo, dude, like, let me help you out. You know, you're a real estate agent now. Let's do this together. Can you find me a home? But they're actually like, I'm going to find someone who knows more. you know, and you're like, oh. You're like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get it, dude. But damn, I thought we were homies. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Everyone's got their own mindset and mentality of things and how they want to do things, and it's fine. I would say the first 2 years, I was a little butthurt about things like, damn, how come they're not asking me? Like, if you were to do something, I would help you out, you know, type of stuff. And it's just everyone's different. So now I can care less. I don't give a shit. Yeah. And I think it's because now I do too many transactions. So it doesn't faze me. Like, now being my first year full time, we're in October. We're 10 months in. And what did I say? I said average agent sells 4 homes in a year. Right now, I'm on, I think, 16 in 10 months. So on average, I'll be like 2 to 3 a month for the year. Yeah. You know? So I'm very happy with the way real estate is going. I think what's really helping me is it all started from YouTube. You know, a lot of people that I'm helping are not friends, but they're actually viewers.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, how long ago did we start the podcast? 4 months ago?
Yeah, I would say maybe like 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay. There's 2 listeners on here that have reached out to me to buy a home.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
One lives 10 minutes away from us now. And another one is I'm going back next week to give him the keys to his house.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we have some active listeners that are trying to buy homes.
Yep.
You know, that's what we're trying to help out, you know.
Yeah, they're both cool. New builds too. One's a new build in Vegas, one's a new build in LA.
Oh wow.
And this is the part where now it kind of goes full circle. So when you do YouTube, we make money from you guys watching our videos, right? And there's no way for me to give back besides experiences, sharing some value, doing some meet and greets here and there, you know, but everyone, all of you guys that watch and listen to my YouTube, like I'm so grateful and I appreciate it so much because you guys buy my matcha from Junbi, you buy my chili sauce from Hot Jong, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, how can I give back? And so now when you guys reach out to me through real estate and you want to buy a home, I try to give you the best work possible because this is the only way I can give back. You know what I mean? Like, I help people get, on average, I don't know, at least, I'll say on average about a little over 10K in savings. On my biggest is like, I think it's about 50,000, and I've done that twice for 2 people. Everyone else, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 I've helped them save. And that's my way of giving back. I think if it's like, you know, your other agents, they don't care to ask for those things. For you guys to get money back, have some closing costs paid for, a buy down program, getting your house for 20, 30, 50K under asking price. On the new builds, I'm even doing that, which no one ever does. You know what I mean? Like whatever price they tell you on a new build, that's what you're paying. But I'm getting them at like 50K under. You know what I mean? And my wife's like, why do you think you're able to get these things? You know? And I'm like, I don't know. I just ask. You know, and like I care for my clients and I tell them off the bat, like, I think I can get you this much off, you know? Yeah. So I think a lot of you guys who watch my YouTube, I go through the whole experience of buying and selling with my clients who are actually you guys are listening and watching. And you can see that I actually really try to help you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I said, it's the only way I can give back. So I do it through real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
So it's how I show my appreciation back to everybody.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to ask you, like, since you work between LA and Las Vegas, are the markets pretty different?
Very different.
You have to like maneuver yourself in a different way, or like?
Yeah. I would say for every 1 home I sell in Vegas, I'm selling 2 in LA.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's double the competition, double the buyers.
Here.
In LA.
Oh, in LA. I see what you mean.
So every month I have 1 deal in Vegas and I have 2 in LA. So that's why I'm going back at least 4 times a month to LA.
Mm.
So the market is very, very hot in LA right now. Still going against. I mean, instead of going against like 40 buyers and offers, now you're going against like 5. But there's still like 1 or 2 people in those 5 who are like giving it their all. Still putting the highest or going over asking, still waiving contingencies and things like that. So it's still a very competitive market. And now with the roller coaster of prices going up and down, we're only like 30K under than the peak of 2021.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the rates are like really close to 8% right now. No one gives a shit. Like they're still buying homes, you know? So here in Vegas is a little different. If it's a very beautiful home, it's gone in a weekend. If it's a normal home, it'll sit for about 60 days, you know, and then you can get 50K off, 80K off. I did help someone get 80K off last year, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They got it for 80K less. So if they wanted to sell the day after they got their keys, they would have made 80K, you know, minus all their fees and stuff.
Right.
But instant 80K equity, you know, stuff like that. And that's one of the, when I'm talking about giving back, during that time when I'm helping people get like 50 to 80K off a home, I was looking for rentals for myself. And instead of buying the rentals, I was telling people they should buy this home. And to this day, I still don't have a rental because I missed out on those great deals. So I gave it to everyone else first, you know, but I'm happy to. So, but yeah, market is still crazy, guys. I don't think it's ever going to stop. People are saying it's going to crash, all this stuff. And man, I'm in this from day to day, week to week. And I'm telling you, man, there's tons of buyers who are buying now. And there's tons of buyers who are waiting. It's just not going to stop because I'm also waiting. And by the time if it crashes, I'm buying a shit ton. You know what I mean? So it's, don't wait.
Yeah.
Just if you guys got the money, just buy it, man.
Yeah.
Don't be cheap. That's all I got to say. The cheaper you are, it's going to hurt you in the long run. I have a client right now. He was watching on YouTube and he reached out a year ago and he's like, I want to move from San Francisco to Vegas. So we looked at homes and all that stuff and he's like, okay, I got to do my taxes first. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just give what you have now and let's go buy the home. I want to wait for the taxes because it's a little bit, it'll show that I have more money. I'm like, yeah, but the rate right now is 4%. If you wait, by that time it's going to be like 5 or 6. He's like, we'll see. And then it went to 6%. And then I'm like, hey, he reached back out like 6 months later. Hey, I'm ready to buy again. We go look at some homes again. And then he's like, actually, you know, I have some more money coming in by the end of the year. I'll wait till the end of the year. And I'm like, hold on, don't do that, dude. It's going to be like 7 or 8% by the end of the year. Like the Fed said they're going to raise the rates. And he's like, yeah, but I'm just going to wait. So here we are 1 year later. He still wants to buy a home, but he's waiting for him to just be comfortable. And now the rates went from 4% to now 8%. You know, like, guys, stop waiting. Just, you have the funds. Let's just go look at one that's going to fit your budget at the time. Because now you're really screwing yourself. The rates have doubled. Prices are higher. Like, I don't want to say I told you so, but it's like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
You know, even though I told you the whole time. So I feel really bad for a lot of people. And I just, that's why I say, just guys, if you have the money, just buy. Don't cheap out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel like hearing your story, like going from the part-time kind of just getting into it to now being full-time is insane.
Yeah, it's like I'm full-time in real estate, but I'm also full-time in YouTube because now we have the podcast and now I got a second podcast and like I'm just going I don't know, 100 miles per hour.
Do you feel like real estate is going to be a thing for a minute?
I think so because we're in the worst market possible and I'm selling 16 homes in 10 months. You know? Like imagine if it was 2021 again when everyone was buying a home and giving money away. I'd probably have double that. Like I'm not going to stop. So This is the most popular matcha tin. It gives you the energy you need to prepare for your day without the crash, mainly because of its high quality. Make your own matcha at home with their daily ceremonial grade matcha. All you have to do is scoop, whisk, and enjoy. So, this matcha tin is 100% pure shade grown, finely milled matcha. It's sourced from a 100-year-old farm in Japan. It pairs deliciously with other ingredients, and it fuels you to prepare daringly for your adventures ahead.
Yeah. How many businesses do you think you've done? Do you have a number that you can think of?
1, 2, 3, including investments.
Sure.
I might be pretty close to 10.
Really?
Yeah.
And how many business would you say you have currently running and going?
Right now, 5?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe 5.
So do you have like a best and worst business list?
Oh man, I was. This is like a catch-22. I would say YouTube is the best and worst at the same time. Yeah.
Why?
Because it takes up my whole life.
Oh, okay.
I'm literally vlogging my whole life, day to day, stuff like that. And then a lot of people who watch our channel religiously, they're just like, I miss your vlogs because you're putting all these podcasts out that with your wife, you know? So I have this other podcast called Love and Rice. And now we're putting up more podcasts than we are vlogs. But it's because, well, one, I'm running so many things right now that it's hard for me to vlog every day, you know, so the content gets kind of stale. But now it's like when I upload one vlog a week, there's so much more I can do in the week. I'm flying to LA and back. I'm taking my kids to jiu-jitsu. We're going on these experiences. We're going for a great meal, one for the week, you know, stuff like that. But if it's like every day, it's like, I'm too busy, you know? So, that's why business is in that sense the worst, because I don't get to take a break. But it's the best because without YouTube, I wouldn't be here today. I would say 7 of those businesses wouldn't exist if I didn't do YouTube.
Wow.
Prior to YouTube, I probably only had 3 businesses. Yeah.
Was there anything like instilled in you that made you like become this entrepreneur or have this hustle kind of thing? Like when you were younger, were your parents very strict, or like did something happen where you're like, I want to do this and this is, I'm a hustler?
I think there's a few mixtures in there. That's a great question, Justin. So I think what it is that when I was a little kid, before the high school days, my dad, you know, he's an immigrant, and he tells me about all of his stories and the sacrifices he had to make. I didn't understand a lot of it because I'm just a kid and they sound like lectures. But what I do understand are a lot of the, I wouldn't say tortures that they went through, but just the hardships that they went through. I understood that. So this story is what made me have the drive. When my dad was living in China with his brothers and sisters and his mom and dad, at 8 years old, his dad took him on a trip to Hong Kong. Okay. Hong Kong, you have to either fly there or take a boat from China. And so his dad was a taxi driver, and I guess he was driving taxis for something in Hong Kong or whatever. And he decided to take my dad with him at 8 years old. The rest of the family stayed in China. At some point, his dad died. When his dad died, my dad was 8 years old and homeless. He had nowhere to go. His dad passed away. So he wasn't going to school, nothing. So elementary school dropout up until like 2nd grade, if you're 8 years old. And he was living on park benches, using newspaper, sleeping in the middle of the night. His mom found out, and his mom swam across the ocean from China to Hong Kong to bring him back. She got caught and arrested and went to jail. Did it a 2nd time and succeeded, and brought him back. So that whole story right there was like, fuck, that's crazy, you know? So to know that my dad went from that world to owning his own construction business, he has like all these awards and in this, he gives back to the community a lot. He's in the politics area. He's just he's in the newspaper every day. My dad is a very famous man in the community. And so as a kid growing up, he was well respected. And so I understood that coming from where he was and seeing how his siblings are, where they're still like living like China people, and he's progressed to business owner, a restaurant, to construction, and my mom is like vice president of this and that, of companies, you know. I'm like, okay, so if they can do that, what can I do? You know what I mean? I have this better life. I'm living in a white dominant area as a kid, and I'm like, this is good, right? And so that gave me the drive to do I guess better. But what really made me start all the businesses was that I was a stupid kid. So I was a C student. I'll get A's in some things, but you know, I'm like 3.0, 2.8, 2.6 GPA. And so that's like a C student. And knowing that I didn't do well in school, didn't get accepted to all the colleges, guess what I got on my SAT? Do you guys take SATs in Vegas?
did, but I don't remember what I got.
So by the time I got to high school, I was in like, it was all Asian kids and everyone's very smart, book smart. And everyone's getting like minimum 1,200 on their SATs. Most people are getting 1,400s. Okay. They're all going to UCs, UC Berkeley, Harvard, all that stuff. And so I took my SATs and I think I got 780. Under 800. And people were like, how's that possible? You put your name and you get 400. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's when I realized I already knew I'm bad at school. But after taking that test, I was like, oh, I'm like really stupid. And so, you know, throughout my years of elementary school to high school, I did a lot of like side jobs for my dad because he had all these businesses. So I was almost like a Home Depot guy to him. Mm-hmm. You know, I would, at 12 years old, I'm building stairs. I'm painting a whole house. I'm installing turf and grass for people. I'm installing a roof, you know, at 12 years old, building houses. And every summer I would do that. And then, so I've learned to be really good with my hands. And so when I realized that I'm not going to go to a good UC, you know, I went to I don't even know what it's called anymore. Cal Poly. I went to Cal Poly, Pomona, and my first year I got kicked out because I couldn't pass the prerequisite classes. So when you start at a very low level, you have 1 year to pass math and English and whatever. If you don't pass it, you can't progress to the next one and you're out. I couldn't pass the math. I'm really, and you know, being Asian, that should probably be the one thing I should know, but I couldn't pass math class. But it's also because I couldn't comprehend the teachers and the professors because all of them were not from America. Like they have accents and they, you know, most people, if they can't understand stuff in school, they go home, they get tutors or they read the books. Well, I'm having a hard time in class and I have a hard time comprehending the books. So it was a automatic formula to fail. So I failed and I got kicked out of school the first year. And then I realized, what am I going to do in my life? What else can I do? You know, went to another college, Cal State LA. Within 1 month, I dropped out. I was like, fuck. I was taking these classes. There you go. I have another guy who's like, I don't know, Persian and with a very thick accent. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to learn this shit? I can't even understand what he's saying. Mm-hmm. You know? So I'm like, so I dropped out. I'm like, forget it, dude. If college is like this, I can't do this. Like, I'm not learning shit. Then I went to PCC, which is a city college. 1 month, dropped out. I was like, I can't do college. I tried. Um, so I started looking up what I can do with my hands because I had a cousin who went to like a technical school, a tech school for cars, you know, because he really loved building cars and stuff like that. So he went to that. And so I was like, what am I good with my hands and what can I do? And so I thought about culinary school. So I went to culinary school and I learned how to cook and be a chef. And I graduated that. So I got like I would say in like an AA degree. They call it AOS. And so I graduated culinary school. And I was like, okay, so I am good with my hands, you know? I just got to watch, see, and I can do it. And so from that, I was like, my dad was like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? You know, you failed so many schools. You're not going to UC.
He's calling you out.
Pretty much. He's like, you want to start a business? And I'm like, okay, you know, I skipped like 6 years of my life right here. I'm gonna go back to when I graduated culinary school. I went right into cooking and being a chef for the next 6 years. And so my dad saw that I was doing minimum wage, working 13 hours a day at these restaurants where they kind of use you and abuse you. Mm-hmm. Then I stopped working, and he's like, "What are you gonna do with your life?" And he's like, "Why don't you buy a business?" I didn't think about it, you know, because I didn't have money like that. And I was like, well, how am I going to buy a business, you know? But he saw that how bad I was struggling in my life. Right? I'm 25, got nothing going for myself. I tried everything that I could. If I wanted to open a restaurant, I can, but I just didn't have the funds. I didn't have the knowledge or any mentors to teach me how to create capital, get funds, get investors, any of that stuff. It was just mainly like, what can your mom and dad help you with type of thing, you know? I think now after doing this podcast and talking to so many people, we're like, we can just ask anybody for funding and someone will invest, right? Mm-hmm. But back then it was like, we didn't know all that stuff. Everyone was so private with trying to teach these things. And so my dad was like, well, he just saw that I had nothing going for myself, and it was probably like the tipping point of either I'm going to do really bad and it was the end of my life, or he can help his son. So he's like, go find a business and I'll help you buy the business, you know? And so we went on Craigslist and we're searching businesses to buy on Craigslist, you know? Nowadays, that's not so legit. It's so scammy.
Yeah.
But I found a laundromat, you know, and he ended up buying the laundromat for me. And no dad can ever do that for, like, a lot of dads can't. I'm sure, like you say that your parents, they don't have that kind of money and it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky with the situation that I'm in. But at the same time, he saw it as like, this is it. You know, if you're not going to do this, like, I don't know what you're going to do. So he pretty much helped me get my life together. And I told him, okay, well, I'll pay you back for the business, right? So I had this idea. The business that I bought, this laundromat, was in Pasadena. It was near where there's a lot of crazy people. I had like, one time I had this lady take a dump in the middle of the laundromat in front of everybody.
Nice.
You know, that's how bad it was. More than half the machines were broken. I knew nothing about laundromats. I just knew that I didn't have to be there all day, all night. That people just put in their coins, they wash, they get out. And at some point I come clean and I go take the coins out. That's all I had to do. But little did I know that half the machines were broken. And now I'm YouTubing how to fix this machine, how to fix this part. How come the washer doesn't open? So I'm constantly on YouTube learning how to fix machines. And at some point, I think it was 3 months in, where all the machines were now fixed. 3 months of fixing all the machines. And I was like, oh, fuck, all the machines work. I was like, I want to try to sell it before they break. And so I was making really good money on the business. And I ended up flipping it for over 200,000. I got it for 90. And I flipped it for 200. And I sold it. the funny thing is, when I told my dad the idea of the price I wanted to sell it for, he's like, "You're crazy. That's not possible. You know, like he gave me that dad thing where it's just like those the Asian immigrants where they just be like, they give you that sigh and like, there's no way type of thing. Like, no, you're crazy. You're stupid. That's never gonna happen." And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not listening to him." I put it on a place to sell it. Within the month, I sold it for, that over 200,000. Paid my dad back the 90 grand, and now I have 100K.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, what am I gonna do with this 100K? I made this in 3 months. I was like, well, let's try and replicate it. You know, so I went back on Craigslist, looked for another business. I couldn't find another cheap laundromat. So I ended up buying a liquor store. And the liquor store, I was just like, my idea was, I knew nothing about liquor store. Everything that I'm buying right now, I know nothing about. I just knew that I'm good with my hands and I'll figure it out, which is the stupidest mentality ever. Because you may think, like for me, I was like, at a store, how can it fail? People come in and buy shit every day. You're making money.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to fail. But what I didn't know about business was the actual business aspect. It's not just being at the register and selling a Coke or selling a beer, stuff like that. It's like, I didn't know how to grow the business, how to market the business and bring it to, a certain amount that I need to. It was just, I was just in it day to day and running it like I was a minimum wage person, and that was probably the biggest mistake. I think the liquor store was the worst business I ever bought.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I worked there about 21 hours a day for 365 days of the year. You don't close on Thanksgiving or Christmas.
What?
Maybe I do half days, and I did that for 3 years straight. That was probably the worst thing I ever did. So don't buy a liquor store, guys. Do not do that.
So how'd you get out of that? You sold that one too, or?
I sold it for pretty much what I bought it for, which is lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to sell for like 2 years and I couldn't, but the moment I got out of it, I was like, oh, thank God. And at that time I was married, and I told my wife, I'm like, can I not work right now? I'm tired. I just worked 3 years straight. I'm very, very tired. She's like, sure. She supported me for like, I don't know how long, maybe like 10 months, and I didn't work. And then when I saw funds dwindling down, I'm like, okay, now I went to go pick up a job. I was thinking, should I go do another business or just get a job? And I was like, I don't want to do another business. I'm tired, even though I took these 10 months off. And this is what I did. I decided I just needed some money to help pay for a mortgage. We have a house now, all that stuff. That's what I did after selling the liquor store. I bought a home with that money, that was probably the best thing I ever did. Because now that money has doubled and doubled and doubled after every house I bought and sold. So best thing I ever did was buying houses. Stupidest thing was the liquor store. But I think the question you really asked me was like, I went through this whole thing. You asked me like how I got the drive to do everything.
Yeah.
And I think it was the story of my dad, and then me understanding that I can't do book smart or corporate world type stuff. I got to make it on my own.
Yeah.
So that was my drive, figuring out how to make it on my own. Yeah.
So, you said right now you're currently running, what was it, like about five businesses?
Yeah.
What does like your day-to-day look like doing something like that? Like, do you have your days scheduled in a certain way, or that you allocate like to this business and this business and this?
So 2 of them are self-running. The other ones, like, it just depends on the day of what I need to do. So some days I'll do real estate, some days I'll do YouTube. So like if there are some times where I'm not selling a home, I'll go heavy on YouTube. And then if I'm really busy with real estate, then I slow down on YouTube. but none of you guys really see that part. You know,
Yeah.
you just still see the consistency. But it's wait, what was the other question you asked?
It was just about like what is your day to day?
Okay, so like let's say for this week, what I'm doing right now is I'll wake up in the morning. You know, you take your kids to school, come back, and I'm doing everything I do for real estate. You know, connect with the client, connect with the lender, connect with the escrow, get everything done so that the other parties can do their thing and keep it progressing. So when I'm done with real estate, then now I'll figure out some YouTube stuff to do. Whether we vlog or I gotta edit stuff, things like that. Now, after that, I gotta pick up the kids from school. When they come home, I gotta continue work because now everything I did in the morning for real estate and sent out to those other parties, now they've come back with responses and things. So now I gotta finish the day off with real estate, whether it's in California or Vegas. So once that's done, um, then it's dinner time, and then take care of the kids, shower, bath, brush your teeth, put them to bed. After I put them to bed, now it's back to YouTube and podcasts. Now I'm like reviewing videos, editing reels, editing shorts, doing all that stuff. Also, connecting with some of the investment stuff that I have to do. Because people hit me up and they're like, hey, you want to sponsor this, sponsor that. And now I got to talk to my partners and be like, hey, we have all these opportunities coming up. So now it's like a lot of my work just happens throughout the day. I would say I don't stop working until like 11 p.m., maybe 12 sometimes, midnight. And then I'll watch Netflix.
To cool down.
And then I'll sleep by like 1 a.m. And then wake up by like 7 to take my kids back to school and redo everything.
That's crazy.
You know, when my wife says like, damn, why do you work so much? Why do you work so hard? It's like, I don't think we have a choice right now. Everything's coming to us and we just have to ride the wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say no to anything right now. It's good.
Yeah.
The day I say no and slow down is the day we're gonna, you know, eventually that comes into struggles. You know?
Of course.
So I want to make sure I'm good first, and that's what I'm doing, just riding the waves and working throughout the days and nights, taking care of everything, make sure everything's running. So it's like I still do a lot of day-to-day stuff, but it's like, you know, 3 hours of this business, 3 hours of this business, 3 hours of another business and another business. So I kind of divide everything up. So I would say I don't really have a life.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
So you wouldn't say like even though you are hustling, you don't feel like you have a good balance?
No.
So like what would be some things that you would like to be doing for yourself? That you're not doing right now.
I would like to do more family stuff and more stuff with my wife. So it's like we're always saying, okay, now the kids are at school, let's go have lunch and stuff. But half the time we're both working, and now we got to either cook for lunch, or we're eating like some ramen or something easy or microwavable, and then get back to work because we got to get this done before the kids come back. You know, so I want to be able to have more time with my wife in the day without having to do so much. But it's like if I had a 9 to 5, it'd be the same thing. I don't have time with my wife anyways, right? You're doing 9 to 5, so technically it's the same shit. But after in the evenings, I don't really want to work anymore, you know. But in the evenings, sometimes I get new clients, and they're like, "Hey, do you have time for a call? I want to figure out how to buy a home, or I want to figure out this business." And so most people don't have time for that until the evenings when they're home from their day jobs. You know, when you're doing like extra businesses and extra work or extra like you're trying to work on your dream goal of what you want to do in your life, that always comes after your day job. And that's actually more important than your day job.
Yeah.
So I guess right now real estate is my day job, and all this YouTube, all these extra businesses are the second half of the day,
Yeah.
which gets even more crucial.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, man, doing so many things at once, but I just want to, all the stuff I said that I want to do, like be more with my wife and my kids. What I'm doing with all this work is trying to get to that.
Yeah.
Right. So trying to get to the passive income side where now you don't have to work so hard, stuff like that.
So that being said, do you feel like you'll always be this way, or do you feel like once you get to that point, yeah, you're just gonna chill?
I'm hoping it's not another 10 years of this.
Okay.
I can't say what's going to happen.
Right.
But I'm hoping 10 years will not be like this. I'm hoping in 5 years I'm done and retired, which would be like close to 45.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
I think I'm also working hard because one is I'm trying to prepare for that, to retire by that age, but also have retirement funds by that age. So because I have not worked 9 to 5 and been in corporate roles where they help pay for 401ks, retirement funds, I have none of that. So I got to build that shit on my own.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I have investments and all these other things where that's kind of my retirement fund.
Yeah. How old is your dad right now?
My dad, I think he's like 73 or something, 74.
That's crazy because if you retire at 45,
yeah,
and you're able to hit your dad's age,
yeah,
that's a good amount of retirement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think my dad retired at like 62.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to try and retire by 45, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So it's funny because like I know we're going a little bit long with this episode, but my wife says, why do you work so hard? You should live your life, like live day to day because tomorrow isn't promised, right? But for me, I'm like, I think of it as I zoom out into my life and you're living 100 years. Well, by 45, I can live my life. But everyone else is still working until they're 60 to 70.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So to her, it's like she'd rather do a 9 to 5 and then live the rest of her half day as like she has a life in the moment. For me, I'm like, I'm pushing everything now day and night. So by 45, I have the rest of my life.
Okay. So if that were the case, like knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
If something were to happen to where like you found out you had maybe like the next week.
Yeah.
Would you have regretted working so much? You think?
No.
No?
Because if that was to happen, whatever I'm leaving goes to my family. So if I had a 9 to 5, I don't know what they would have left. Right. But I'm leaving them with the investments. I'm leaving them with this house that they can sell. Like they're good. So I don't regret that.
Yeah.
If I didn't work so hard, they wouldn't have it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. So like to be actually more like practical, if I want to stop everything right now and just sell everything that I have, I can retire, I guess. But I want to live a more fun life. Yeah, with abundance. So.
Damn, man. Yeah. This one was deep.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
It was a lot. Yeah. We went to 30 minutes of this. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of The Next Win. I did pour out a lot of my personal stuff and why I work so hard. And it was a lot. And I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and Justin. You'll see in the description box. If you haven't followed us, please follow us on Spotify. What days and times do we upload on Spotify, Justin?
It's usually on Mondays.
Okay.
Around either 3 to like 5 p.m.
Okay, so Monday afternoons, we release our 1-hour episodes on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, CastBox, iHeartRadio. And then on YouTube, we kind of run these out in short 20-minute clips throughout the week, several days throughout the week. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know, how you liked it. Comment. We love for you guys to share your stories as well. And we'll see you guys next time on The Next Win.